Food is any substance that is consumed to provide nutritional support for an organism. There is a lot of variation in the food eaten in different regions of India. Food materials and sources. Plants and animals are major sources of our food. Some plant products are grains, cereals, vegetables, and fruits. Similarly, milk, meat products, and eggs are major animal products. Various parts of plants are eaten in different manner. Some plants have 2 or more edible parts, e.g., seeds of mustard plant give us oil and leaves of mustard plant are used as a vegetable. Classification of animals as per their food habits. Herbivores. Those who eat only plants, e.g., cow, buffalo, etc. Carnivores. Those who eat only animals, e.g., lion, wolf, etc. Omnivores. Those who eat both plants and animals, e.g., human, dog, etc. 2. Our body needs different kinds of food for various special purposes and to fulfill our nutritional requirement. Nutrients. Nutrients are the substances in food that our bodies process to enable it to function. Major nutrients in our food are named as carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, and minerals. Food also contains dietary fibers and water. Tests to detect the presence of nutrients. Role and sources of nutrients. Components of food, nutrient test procedure, carbohydrates, starch, and sugars. Apply 3 drops of dilute iodine solution on food. A blue-black color indicates that it contains starch. Proteins food is taken in powdered or paste form. Add 2 drops of a solution of copper sulfate and 10 drops of a solution of caustic soda. Shake well and let the test tube stand for a few minutes. A violet color indicates the presence of proteins. Fats. Wrap a small quantity of food in a piece of paper and crush it. Hold the paper against the light. Let the paper dry for a while to remove water. An oily patch on paper shows that the food item contains fat. Nutrients. Role sources. Carbohydrates mainly provide energy. Potato, sugarcane, mango, wheat, rice, bajra, maize. Fats provide energy, more than carbohydrates. Plant products. Groundnut, nuts, till animal products. Eggs, fish, meat, ghee, milk. Proteins. Bodybuilding foods. Plant products. Tuar dal, gram, peas, soybean. Animal products. Eggs, fish, meat, milk, paneer. Vitamins help in protecting our body against diseases. Vitamins also help in keeping our eyes, bones, teeth, and gums healthy. Vitamin A keeps our skin and eyes healthy. Papaya, carrot, mango, milk, fish oil. Vitamin B, complex 8B vitamins. B1, B2, B3, B5, B6, B7, B9, B12. In cell metabolism and the synthesis of red blood cells. Wheat, rice, liver. Vitamin C helps the body to fight against many diseases. Lemon, amla, tomato, orange, green chili. Vitamin D helps our body to use calcium for bones and teeth. Eggs, fish, liver, milk. Our body also prepares vitamin D in the presence of sunlight. Minerals needed by our body in small amounts. Each one is essential for the proper growth of the body and to maintain good health. Iodine, ginger, seafood phosphorus, banana, milk iron, spinach, apple calcium, milk, eggs, dietary fibers, roughage. Helps our body to get rid of undigested food. Does not provide any nutrients to our body. Mainly provided by plant products, whole grains and pulses, potatoes, fresh fruits, and vegetables. Water helps our body to absorb nutrients from food, throwing out some wastes from the body as urine and sweat. Liquids we drink, such as water, milk, and tea. Water added to cooked foods. Balanced diet. For growth and maintenance of good health, our diet should have all the nutrients that our body needs, in the right quantities along with a good amount of roughage and water. Such a diet is called a balanced diet. Food should also be cooked properly so that its nutrients are not lost. Loss of some vitamins occurs if vegetables and fruits are washed after cutting or peeling them. Vitamin C gets easily destroyed by heat during cooking. Nutrient-related deficiency disorder. Deficiency of one or more nutrients in our food for a long time may cause certain diseases or disorders. Thus, our meals must have a balance of the different nutrients required by our body to keep us healthy. Vitamin mineral deficiency disease disorder symptoms. Vitamin, a loss of vision, poor vision. Loss of vision in darkness, night. Sometimes complete loss of vision. Vitamin B1, beriberi, weak muscles and little energy to work. Vitamin C, scurvy, bleeding gums. Wounds take longer time to heal. Vitamin D, rickets, bones become soft and bent. Calcium, bone and tooth decay, weak bones, tooth decay. Iodine, goiter glands in the neck appear swollen. Mental disability in children. Iron, anemia, weakness. Clothes are made from a wide range of different materials that are known as fabrics. Some major varieties of fabrics are cotton, wool, silk, synthetic fibers, etc. Fiber. Generally, fabrics are made up of yarns and yarns are further made up of fibers. In simple words, The thin strands of thread, which are further made up of thinner strands, are called as fibers. Examples of some plants' fibers. A. Cotton. Cotton plants are usually grown at places having black soil and warm climate. The fruits of the cotton plant, cotton bolls, are about the size of a lemon. After maturing, the bolls burst open and the seeds covered with cotton fibers can be seen. From these bolls, cotton is usually picked by hand. Fibers are then separated from the seeds by combing. This process is called ginning of cotton. B. Jute fiber is obtained from the stem of the jute plant. It is cultivated during the rainy season. In India, it is mainly grown in West Bengal, Bihar, and Assam. Fiber to fabric. FIBREOABRIC. 3. 6. The jute plant is normally harvested when it is at the flowering stage. The stems of the harvested plants are immersed in water for a few days. The stems rot, and then fibers are separated by hand. These fibers are then processed to make the fabric. For example, cotton fiber is converted to yarn by spinning. Yarn is further processed through weaving or knitting to make fabrics. Process of converting cotton yarn into fabric. Spinning cotton yarn. The process of making yarn from fibers is called spinning. In this process, fibers from a mass of cotton wool are drawn out and twisted. This brings the fibers together to form a yarn. Hand-operated devices such as takli and charka are used in spinning. The spinning of yarn on a large scale is done with the help of spinning machines. Yarn to fabric, it involves two main processes, i.e., weaving and knitting. Weaving, the process of arranging two sets of yarns together to make a fabric, is called weaving. The weaving of fabric is done on looms, which are hand or power operated. Knitting. In knitting, a single yarn is used to make a piece of fabric. Knitting is also done by hand or on machines. Since ancient times, fibers such as cotton, wool, etc. have been an important and integral part of human life, and have made our life more comfortable. Objects around us are made of one or more materials. These materials may be glass, metal, plastics, wood, cotton, paper, mud, or soil, etc. Properties of materials. Properties of materials help us to decide which material should be used for making any given object. Some common properties are appearance I, having luster or shiny appearance gold, silver, etc. tin, having no luster or dull appearance paper, chalk, etc. B. Hardness I, hard to compress, scratch iron, stone, etc. tin, easy to compress, scratch sponge, wool, etc. C. Soluble, insoluble in water, soluble in water, sugar, salt, etc. Insoluble in water, petrol, sawdust, etc. D. Float, sink in water, wine, lighter than water, less density, thus floats dry leaves, oil, etc. Tekin, heavier than water, high density, thus sinks stone, iron, etc. E. Transparency. Thus, grouping of materials based on the similarities or differences in their properties can help us to study their characteristics in a more convenient manner. Material can see through material. Examples: transparent, yes, easily wood, brick; translucent, yes, but not clearly oiled paper, clouds; opaque, no glass, alcohol. 8. Separation of substances from a mixture is done to segregate different useful components and remove non-useful, harmful, or impure substances. Methods of separation. 1. Hand-picking means direct removal by hand, used for separating slightly larger sized impurities like the pieces of dirt, stone, and husk from wheat, rice, or pulses. The quantity of such impurities is usually not large. 2. Threshing. Plant stalks are beaten to free the grain seeds, used to separate the grain from the plant stalk. Also done with the help of bullocks and machines, thresher. 3. Winnowing. It is the separation of heavier and lighter components of a mixture by wind or by blowing air. Used by farmers to separate lighter husk particles from heavier seeds of grain. Husk particles are carried away by the wind. Seed grains get separated and form a heap near the platform for winnowing. 4. Sieving. It involves separation of components of a mixture having different sizes. Fine particles pass through the sieve holes while the bigger impurities remain on the sieve. Generally used in removing pieces of stones, stalk, and husk that may remain with wheat after threshing and winnowing. 5. Sedimentation, decantation, and filtration, useful for separating lighter impurities, which may not be possible by winnowing and handpicking. When the heavier component in a mixture settles after water is added to it, the process is called sedimentation. When the water, along with the dust, is removed, the process is called decantation. The same principle is used for separating a mixture of two liquids that do not mix, e.g., oil and water, from their mixture. Filtration is a process used to separate solids from liquids or gases using a fine poured filter medium that allows only the fluid to pass through but not the solid. The process of conversion of water into its vapor, is called evaporation. Seawater contains many salts mixed in it like common salt. When seawater stands in shallow pits, water gets heated by sunlight and slowly turns into water vapor through evaporation. In a few days, the water evaporates completely, leaving behind the solid salts. Often, We need to use more than one of these methods to separate the different substances present in a mixture. For example, salt and water mixture is separated using processes of decantation, filtration, evaporation, and condensation, the process of conversion of water vapor into its liquid form. Solubility of substances in water. The dissolution of any substance in water depends on the amount of substance and the volume of water along with their properties. Solution is said to be saturated if it cannot dissolve more of the substance in it. Larger quantities of salt can be dissolved in water on heating or increasing water volume. Water dissolves different amounts of soluble substances in it. Interesting points. Water is called the universal solvent because it can dissolve more substances than any other liquid. Interesting points. Changes in any object or its material can occur because of some internal and external factor. A change may occur by heating a substance or by mixing it with some other. Some changes can be reversed, and some cannot be reversed. Plant is a living thing that grows in the soil and has various parts such as stem, root, leaf, flower, and fruit. Major categories of plants. Plants are usually grouped into herbs, shrubs, and trees based on their height, nature of stem and branches. Herbs. Plants with green and tender stems, usually short and may not have many branches, e.g., sunflower, etc. Shrubs. Plants that have branches near the base of the stem. The stem is hard but not very thick, e.g., lemon, etc. Trees, very tall and have hard and thick stems. Stems have branches in the upper part, much above the ground, e.g., mango, etc. Creepers. Plants with weak stems that cannot stand upright but spread on the ground, e.g., money plant, etc. Climbers. Plants that take support and climb up, e.g., grapes, etc. Getting major parts of the plant stem. Stems bear leaves, branches, buds, flowers, and fruits. Stem helps in the movement of water and minerals. Leaf. Parts. Leaf usually has petiole and lamina. The part of the leaf by which it is attached to the stem is called petiole. The broad, green part of the leaf is called lamina. Structure. Lines on the leaf are called veins. Prominent line in the middle of the leaf is midrib. The design made by veins in leaf is called the leaf venation, which is of two types: reticulate venation, net-like venation on both sides of the midrib. Parallel venation. Veins are parallel to one another. Functions. Leaves give out water vapor through the process of transpiration. Green leaves make food by the process of photosynthesis using carbon dioxide and water in the presence of sunlight. Root. Roots absorb water and minerals from the soil. Anchor the plant to the soil. Roots are mainly of two types: tap, main root, and fibrous, small root. Plants having leaves with reticulate venation have tap roots, while plants having leaves with parallel venation have fibrous root. 13 flower. Parts: sepals, petals, stamens, and pistil. Fig. 7-4. Flower parts. Animals follow different ways to move from one place to another, such as walk, run, fly, jump, creep, crawl, slither, and swim. Human body and its movements. Rotates completely, arm at the shoulder. Rotates partly, turns neck, bends arm at elbow, lifts eel, no movement, upper jaw. Bones in our body cannot be bent. We can bend or move our body only at those points where bones meet, known as joints. Following are different types of joints in our body that help us to carry out different movements and activities. Ball and socket joints. Such a joint allow movements in all directions. Pivotal joint. The joint where our neck joins the head is a pivotal joint. It allows us to bend our head forward and backward and turn the head to our right or left. Joints and fourth movement like a door. The elbow has a hinge joint that allows only a back and forth movement. Fixed joints. Bones cannot move at these joints. E.g., bones in our head, the joint between the upper jaw and the rest of the head, etc. All the bones in our body form a framework called skeleton, which gives shape to our body. The human skeleton comprises the skull, the backbone, ribs and the breastbone, shoulder and hip bones, and the bones of hands and legs. Ribs, bones of the chest, join the chest bone and the backbone together to form a box. This is called the rib cage. The rib cage is joined to a series of bones stretching from the neck to the pelvis, known as backbone. Spine. The backbone consists of 33 vertebrae. Individual, interlocking bones, pelvic bones, pelvis, enclose the portion of our body below the stomach. This is the part we sit on. The skull is made up of many bones joined together. It encloses and protects the brain. Some additional parts of the skeleton that are not as hard as the bones and can also bend are called cartilage. For example, earlobes, nose, tip, etc. Cartilage is also found in the joints of the body and act as rubber-like padding. Muscle is a soft tissue that can contract and produce motion and force. When contracted, the muscle becomes shorter, stiffer, and thicker. A muscle can only pull. It cannot push. Thus, two muscles must work in pairs to move a bone. Gait of animals. Earthworms. An earthworm does not have bones. It has muscles which help in movement by alternate extension and contraction of the body. Earthworms are known as farmers' best friends since they eat their way through the soil and make the soil more useful for plants. Snail. Move with the help of a muscular foot. Shell outer skeleton plays no role in the movement. Cockroach. The muscles of the breast connected with 3 pairs of legs and 2 pairs of wings help the cockroach to walk and fly. Birds. Strong muscles and light and hollow bones work together to help the birds fly. They fly by flapping their wings. Fish. Fish swim by forming loops alternately on 2 sides of the body. Streamlined body shape enables water to flow around it easily and allows the fish to move in the water. Snakes. Snakes slither on the ground by looping sideways. Many bones and associated muscles push the body forward. Interesting points. Gait of Animals is a book on animal movements by the Greek philosopher Aristotle. The place where organisms live is called a habitat. The habitat provides food, water, air, shelter, and other needs to organisms. Several kinds of plants and animals may share the same habitat. Broad classification of habitat. Terrestrial, related to land, e.g., forests, grasslands, deserts, coastal and mountain regions. Aquatic, related to water, e.g., lakes, rivers, and oceans. Components of habitat: biotic, living, plants, animals, and microorganisms. Abiotic, non-living, rocks, soil, air, water, light, and temperature. The presence of specific features and habits, which enable an organism to live in particular habitat, is called adaptation. Those organisms which cannot adapt to changes die, and only the adapted ones survive, i.e., survival of the fittest. Some terrestrial habitats and adaptations. A. Deserts. Organisms need adaptations to cope with issues such as heat and water scarcity. Camels. Long legs keep body away from the hot sand. Excrete small amount of urine. Dung is dry, and they do not sweat. Rats and snakes stay in deep burrows in the sand. Come out only during the night when it is cooler. Plants. Leaves are either absent, very small, or they are in the form of spines. Photosynthesis is usually carried out by the stems, e.g., cactus, etc. The stem is also covered with a thick, waxy layer to retain water in the tissues. Succulents have parts that are thickened, fleshy, and engorged to store water. Roots go very deep into the soil for absorbing water. B. Mountainous regions. Organisms also need adaptations to cope with very cold and windy environments, including snowfall. Trees. Cone-shaped and have sloping branches. Needle-like leaves to slide off rainwater and snow easily. Animals. Thick skin or fur, e.g., yaks, snow leopard, etc. Mountain goat has strong hooves for running up the rocky slopes. C. Grasslands lion. Long claws to catch prey, animals to eat. Its light brown color to hide in dry grasslands. The eyes in front of the face to detect prey. Deer. Strong teeth for chewing hard plant stems. Long ears to hear movements of predators, like lion, etc. Eyes on the side of its head to look in all directions for danger. Speed of the deer helps them to run away from the predators. Some aquatic habitats and adaptations. A. In oceans, sea animals have streamlined bodies to flow easily. Animals like squids and octopus, which do not have streamlined bodies, stay deeper in the ocean. Animals usually have gills to use oxygen dissolved in water. Dolphins and whales that do not have gills breathe in air through nostrils or blowholes. They come out to the surface to breathe in air. B. In ponds and lakes, roots fixed in the soil below the water to hold the plant. Stems are long, hollow, and light to grow up to the surface of the water. Leaves and flowers float on the surface of the water. Submerged plants have narrow and thin ribbon-like leaves, which can bend in the flowing water. Frogs have webbed feet, which help them swim in the water. Characteristics of organisms. Living things have certain common characteristics. They need food. They respire and excrete, respond to their environment, reproduce, grow, and show movement. Food gives organisms the energy needed for them to grow and sustain life processes. Growth. They are different stages of growth, e.g., newborn human baby to adult breathing. Breathing is part of a process called respiration. It is through respiration that the body finally obtains energy from the food. Earthworms breathe through their skin. Fish have gills for using oxygen dissolved in water. Plant leaves take in air through tiny pores, respond to environment. Changes in our surroundings that make us respond are called stimuli, e.g., hiding of cockroaches in the light, etc. Flowers of plants either bloom at night or close after sunset. Plants like mimosa, commonly known as touch-me-not, leaves close or fold when someone touches it. Excretion. The process of getting rid of wastes by organisms is known as excretion. Reproduce. Animals produce their young ones through eggs or give birth to the young ones. Plants produce seeds, which can germinate and grow into new plants. Some plants reproduce through parts other than seeds, e.g., a part of a potato with a bud grows into a plant. Plants also reproduce through cuttings like rose. In general, something that is living may have all the above characteristics, while non-living things may not show all these characteristics at the same time. Motion. Motion is a change in the position of an object with time. Different modes of transport are used to go from one place to another, e.g., foot, bullock cart, boats, and then steam engine-operated rails and automobiles and aeroplanes. And now there have been electric trains, metros, etc. types of motion. Rectilinear. Motion along a straight line, e.g., falling of a stone, etc. Circular. Object moves such that its distance from a fixed point remains the same, e.g., hands of the clock, etc. Periodic. Motion that repeats itself after some fixed time interval, e.g., pendulum in clock, etc. Rotational. Body follows a curved path, but the center of rotation is inside the body, e.g., rotation of Earth about its axis, etc. Measurement of distances. The people of the Indus Valley civilization must have used incredibly good measurements of the length, as evident from the excavations of perfectly geometrical constructions. In ancient India, small length measurements used were an angle, finger, or muthi, fist. Now, we use the International System of Units, SI units. Meter is the unit of length in the SI unit. The change in the position can be determined through distance measurements, which can help us in determining the pace of motion. Some important facts. Objects that emit light of their own are called luminous objects, e.g., sun, etc. Transparent objects allow light to pass through them, and we can clearly see through these objects. Translucent objects allow light to pass through them partially. Opaque objects do not allow light to pass through them. Shadows are formed when an opaque object comes in the path of light. Sometimes, the shadow of an object can give us an idea about its shape. Pinhole cameras can be used to image brightly lit objects like sun. Generally, gaps between the leaves of a tree act as natural pinholes. Light travels in a straight line. That is why, when opaque objects obstruct it, a shadow is formed. Mirror changes the direction of light that falls on it and create reflection. Mirror reflection gives us clear images. Some important facts. An electric cell is a device which can produce electricity. It has two terminals, positive, V, and negative. A typical electric cell produces electricity from the chemicals stored inside it. An electric bulb has a filament, thin wire, that is connected to its terminals. An electric bulb glows when the electric current passes through it. In a closed electric circuit, the electric current passes from one terminal of the electric cell to the other terminal. A switch is a simple device used to either break or complete an electric circuit. Conductors allow the electric current to pass through them, e.g., iron, human body, etc. Circuits and switches, electrical plugs and sockets are made of conductors. Insulators do not allow the electric current to pass through them, e.g., wood, paper, etc. Insulators like rubber and plastics are used for covering electrical appliances. Water is a clear, colorless, odorless, and tasteless liquid. It is essential for most of the plant and animal life. Around 2/3 of the Earth is covered with water. Most of the water is present in the oceans and is saline. Thus, it is unfit for drinking and other domestic, agricultural, industrial needs. Some sources of usable water are ponds, lakes, rivers, and wells. Water cycle water from the ocean and surface of the Earth goes into the air as vapor, returns as rain, hail, or snow, and finally goes back to the oceans. This circulation of water is known as the water cycle. Water vapor gets added to the air by evaporation and transpiration. The water vapor in the air condenses at heights to form tiny droplets of water, which appear as clouds. Condensation. Many tiny water droplets come together and fall down as rain, snow, or hail. Precipitation, rain, hail, and snow replenish water in rivers, lakes, ponds, wells, and soil. Rainwater harvesting is the technique of collection and storage of rainwater. The basic idea behind rainwater harvesting is catch water where it falls. Two techniques of rainwater harvesting are rooftop rainwater harvesting. Rainwater is collected from the rooftop and stored in the tank through pipes. Surface runoff harvesting. Rainwater is allowed to go into the ground directly from the roadside drains that collect rainwater. Today, we are facing a severe shortage of water, and hence, it is important for us to use the water in a careful manner. Air is a mixture of nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, water vapor, and a few other gases along with dust particles. Air occupies space, and it is also present in water and soil. The air in motion is called wind. Components of air. A major part of air is nitrogen, and it is one of the building blocks of life. Oxygen supports burning and is necessary for living organisms. Carbon dioxide plays a key role in photosynthesis. Water vapor in the air is important for the water cycle in nature. Role of air. The envelope of air that surrounds the Earth is known as the atmosphere. The atmosphere is essential for life on Earth. Air helps in the movements of sailing gliders, parachutes, and aeroplanes. Air propels the windmills, which are also used to generate electricity. Birds, bats, and insects can fly due to the presence of air. Aquatic animals use dissolved air in water for respiration. Air also helps in the dispersal of seeds and pollen of flowers of several plants. Air plays an important role in the water cycle. The balance of oxygen and carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is maintained through respiration in plants and animals, and by the photosynthesis in plants. Garbage is an undesired material or any discarded substance. Various techniques of garbage handling. A landfill is low-lying open area used for the disposal of waste materials. Useful and non-useful components of the garbage are segregated before the landfill. Waste segregation at source is done using colored dustbins. The blue bin is for reusable such as plastics, metals, and glass. The green bins are for collecting kitchen and other plant or animal wastes. The rotting and conversion of waste materials into manure is called composting. Garbage heaps of dried leaves. Harvested residue like husk, dried leaves, and part of crop plants could be converted into useful compost. Preparing compost with the help of redworms is called vermicomposting. Redworms do not have teeth. They have a structure called gizzard, which helps them in grinding their food. Redworms do not survive in extreme climate and need moisture. Waste management. Waste management includes all the activities and actions required to manage waste from its inception to its final disposal. This includes the collection, transport, treatment, segregation, and disposal. Significance of waste management. We can get useful products, such as paper, etc., by recycling of the waste. It will help in preventing the death of stray animals. E.g., if plastic waste is unhandled, it may be swollen by stray animals leading to their death. Proper handling of plastic waste can prevent flood-like situation during heavy rains because unhandled plastic has potential to choke the drainage system. Plastics cannot be converted into less harmful substances by the process of composting, thus there is need to minimize overuse of plastics. Garbage in, garbage out. Interesting points. Swachh Bharat Mission, SBM, is a countrywide campaign initiated by the Government of India in 2014 to eliminate open defecation